and thanks for joining us for our class today. So today's class we're going to start and warm up in standing, then we're going to come down onto our backs to challenge our core a little bit more, and we're going to move onto our sides, do a side bend movement today, so really challenge those obliques a little bit as well, and then finish as always with some nice stretches. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the class and we'll get started. So we're going to bring those toes apart and those heels apart, so those feet at that hip width distance. Just to start with, we're going to transfer that weight, come to the front of your toes, then back onto your heels. So just nice and slowly forwards and back. Just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements. So that weight's going nice and evenly down through your feet. Those knees are soft, so just slightly bend, hands up onto your pelvis, then very gently we're tilting that pelvis forward and then tilting back. So just gently dropping forwards, dropping back. Just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements again. So that pelvis in a nice neutral position. Good. That core's gently engaged, those ribs are soft, collarbone's nice and wide, and that neck is nice and long and lifted. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to float our hands up, and we're going to bring our right arm around in a big circle, and then back to that centre. We do the same on the left, so left arm around, and then back to that centre. Good. So we're alternating sides, really rotating that arm around, in that big wide circle in a kind of windmill movement. Opening out, round and back. Good. And coming around. Good. A few more here each side. Rotating around and back. Rolling that shoulder around. Good. And back. Lovely. We'll do one more each side here. Good. And the opposite side. Back to that centre. Now we're going to do both together. So we're going to lift those arms up and coming round in that big circle, floating back. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching around. Back to that centre. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, reach those arms around in that circle and back. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching around and back. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reach those arms around and back. One last time. Breath in. As you breathe out, reach those arms around and back to that centre. Well done. Float those arms down, just relax those shoulders. Okay, so elbows into your side, we're going to open out through our chest now. So breath in. As you breathe out, open those hands out and back. And opening out. Palms up to the ceiling, so breath in. As you breathe out, squeeze those shoulder blades gently back as you widen those arms. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, opening out and back. And again, opening out, squeezing gently back and forwards. Breath in. As you breathe out, opening out and forwards. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching those hands open and back. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opening out. Good. Now on this next movement, we're going to open out, reach those hands away, turn our palms down, palms up and fold back. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opening out, reach those hands away, palms down, palms up and fold back. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opening out, reach those fingertips away, palms down, palms up and fold back. Good. And again, opening out, reaching away, palms down, palms up and fold back. Good. One last time. Opening out, reaching away, palms down, palms up and fold back. Lovely. And then relax those arms down, relax those shoulders. Okay, so we're just going to move through our feet a little bit, through our ankles, and we're going to come up into some heel raises. So breath in. As you breathe out, just come up onto those toes and lower back down. Good. So just lifting up and lowering. Keep that core engaged just to support you as you lift up and lower. Good. So lifting and lowering. So nice and controlled, lift up and lower down. So just warming up through those feet, through those ankles, just working those calves a little bit as we lift up and lower. Good. And lower down. A few more here. Lifting and lowering. Good. Up nice and tall through that neck, that chin tucked in. Well done. And let's do one more here. And then lower down. Good. Now we're going to go into our balance series. We're going to float our hands up to shoulder height. We're going to come up onto those toes again. Now we're going to bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good. Float those hands up onto those toes. Bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, float those hands up onto those toes. Bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Very good. Okay, and again, float those hands up. Keep those ribs soft. Up onto those toes. Bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Make sure those knees are staying that hip width distance apart as you lower back down. Good. And again, float up onto those toes. Bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, float those hands up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Last couple here, up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Last time. Up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Relax those shoulders. Okay, so just bring those feet just a tad wider, not too wide, just slightly wider if you want to. We're going to go into our squat movement from here. So make sure with this that the weight goes back onto your heels. So imagine you've got a chair behind you, we're sitting back into that chair. So breath in, as you breathe out, drop that bottom behind and then lift up. Good. And again, drop that bottom behind and lift up. So sitting back, imagine you're sitting back onto that chair. We're really using those thigh muscles here as we're lowering down and using them to push ourselves back up. So remember, the lower you go, the harder it is. So just go to where you're comfortable as you drop down and lift up. Good. If you can, we can bring those hands in front and lift up. So drop down and lift up. Drop down and lift up. Very good. Drop down, lift up. Excellent. A few more here. Good. Drop down and lift up. Now on this next one, we're going to drop down. We're going to hold this here. We're going to add a heel raise and the opposite heel. And again, alternating sides, moving through each side. Good. Lifting and lowering if you can. Well done. Really feeling that in those legs. Well done. And one more here, back and lift back up. Oh, very good. Let's do that one more time. So we're going to drop down, raise the heel and opposite heel. Keep going here if you can, alternating sides. Just the last few, well done. Good. And one more, back to that center and lift those legs back up. Oh, well done, very good. So those feet back to that hip width distance. We're going to do a few roll downs just to move through our spines from here. So breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, curl down through that spine, rolling those hands down towards the floor. Breath in at the end here. Then as you breathe out, gently restacking back into standing. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath in at the end here. And as you breathe out, gently restacking back into standing. Fantastic. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling down through that spine, down towards the floor. Breath at the end here. As you breathe out, slowly restacking, lifting up through that spine. Let's do one last time. Breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands down towards the floor. Breath at the end here. As you breathe out, slowly peeling back up into standing. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to carry on our class and come down onto our backs and onto our mats. Okay, so we come down onto our backs and we're going to continue our class. So just to start, we're going to find that neutral spine position. So bring those toes apart and those heels apart. So our feet are that hip width distance. And to begin with, we're just going to tilt that pelvis forwards and back. Just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements. So pelvis in a nice neutral position. Back core's gently engaged from here. Those ribs are nice and soft, those collarbones wide, that neck nice and long and lifted as well. Okay, so we're going to start with our move of the month, our one leg stretch. So we're going to bring one leg up into tabletop. If you can, we're going to bring the other leg safely into that tabletop as well, keeping that tummy nice and flat and not losing that neutral spine position. So from here, I'm just going to reach one leg away to that opposite wall, and then we're going to alternate legs. So I'm just reaching that leg away and then back, reaching from here. Good. Now if that feels too challenging to be up in double tabletop, then you can lower one leg and then reach just one leg away, okay, if you need to. So just do what's comfortable for you, just making sure you're not losing that neutral spine position from here. Good. So we're lengthening the leg away. Well done. Keeping that control, just reaching that toe to that opposite wall. Good. Making sure as I lengthen that leg, I'm not losing that neutral spine. My tummy's not doming, keeping that nice and flat as you lengthen each leg away. Well done. So just lengthening through here.
But remember, if that starts to feel too much, just lower one leg down and we can alternate as a single tabletop, okay? So just pick what you need to and what's comfortable. So lengthening one leg, reaching for that opposite wall, lengthening that leg away. Well done. Good. Let's do a few more here, keeping that control, keeping that core engaged as you lengthen through that leg. Well done. Lengthening away, reaching for that opposite wall, so that leg is sort of going in that diagonal movement. Very good. Touching, reaching for that opposite wall. Well done. Good. Last few here, keeping that control. Well done. Lengthen the leg. So let me just do a few more. Breathing out as you lengthen the leg away if you can. Good. Keeping going. Controlling that movement. Well done. Let's do one more each side. Good. And then lowering those legs back down one at a time. Back to that start. Very good. So we'll keep practicing that exercise throughout this month, and we'll have some variations and regressions to that as well as we go. So feet and knees that hip width distance apart. We're going to go into our bridge movement now. So make sure your feet are sort of tucked up towards your bottom, not too far away from you. That can often be why you get cramp into your hamstrings when you're doing this exercise. So feet and knees that hip width distance apart. Arms relaxed down by your side. So we're going to start by taking a breath in all together. As we breathe out, we're going to tuck that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Take a breath in here. Then as you breathe out, we're just going to peel slowly back down, back to that start. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Take a breath in here. And as you breathe out, slowly peeling that spine back down, back to that start. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Take a breath at the top here. And as you breathe out, slowly peeling that back down. Good. And again, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Good. And then slowly peeling down on that out breath. So really feeling like you're peeling and walking that spine up, lifting up off the mat. And then as you come down, you're walking that spine down one vertebra at a time, peeling back down towards the mat. Good. And again, lifting up. Use those bottom muscles to help lift you up into that bridge. Keep those bottom muscles engaged as you then slowly peel back down. Now, if that's feeling comfortable here, as we come up, if you can, we're just going to raise a heel, then the opposite heel. So making sure that as you raise the heel, you're not letting that pelvis dip. We're keeping that control and that pelvis level as we add in that leg movement. So lifting up, keeping that pelvis level, raising the heel. Let's do 2 each side, keeping that pelvis level, and then slowly peeling back down. Good. And again, tucking that pelvis under. Use those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Keep those bottom muscles engaged, that pelvis level. And if you can, we're just going to raise the heel each side, twice each side, and then slowly peeling back down. Good. And again, tucking that pelvis under. Use those bottom muscles, coming up into that bridge, keeping level, raising the heel each side. Well done. And then on the out breath again, we're just peeling gently back down. Well done. Let's do one more here. So lifting up, using those bottom muscles, just challenge that a little bit more, keeping that hips level. And then again on the out breath, just walking that spine slowly back down. Very good. Let's bring those knees in. Let's have a hug and stretch out that back. Good. So just breathing in and out here. On that out breath, if you can, just sink down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. So breathing in. As you breathe out, just relaxing down into that stretch just that little bit further if you can. Good. And again, breath in. And as you breathe out, just sinking down that stretch a little bit further if you can. Good. One more breath in and out, sinking down that little bit further Good. And then just lowering those legs back down one at a time. Coming back to that start position. Okay, so feet and knees that hip width distance apart still. Again, if you need to, just tilt that pelvis forwards and back again, just to make sure you're still in that starting position. Okay, so we're going to challenge our hip control a little bit into a scissors movement. So we're going to float one leg into that single tabletop here. Just tap that foot down, back up, and then lowering. Now keeping that leg at that 90-degree angle as you tap the foot down, back up and lower. Good, and again, lifting that leg up, tap down, back up and lower. So keeping the control as you lower the leg down and back up. That pelvis still staying level, not letting my back arch, my tummy dome. I'm keeping that flat as I tap down, back up. Now if you can, we're going to float safely, both legs up into double tabletop. Keeping that tummy nice and flat, that core engaged. We're just going to alternate tapping the foot down. Now if that feels too much to tap all the way, just tap halfway, okay, if that feels better. Keep that control as you tap down each side. Now we're alternating sides here. If you've done Pilates before and that feels quite comfortable, we can just increase the speed of that tap so it's a more of a reciprocal movement as we're changing that leg movement. Tap, tap from here. Good. So keeping that control, but remember you can either be that reciprocal movement or just tapping one at a time, or if that just starts to feel too much, just halfway. Okay, good. Keeping that control, really working those lower abdominals a little bit here as well, making sure that pelvis is staying nice and neutral, my tummy staying flat. All done. I'm not letting my tummy dome as I'm moving those legs through this movement. Good. Now breathing in and out. If you're having that reciprocal pattern, you might have about 2 cycles of movement, each breath in and out. Good. Really working through those legs. Well done. Keeping going here if you can. A few more. Well done. Last few. Good. Keep going. Tapping through. Opposite arm. Opposite. Good. Well done. Alternating sides. Let's do one more each side. Coming back to that start. Bring those knees in, have a quick hug. Well done. And relaxing down. Very good. Okay, so coming back to that start position, feet and knees that hip width distance apart. Just tilting that pelvis forwards and back again. Just make sure we're still in that neutral position. That core is gently engaged. Now we're just going to work our upper bodies a little bit, our arms. So we're going to float our hands up towards the ceiling now. There's quite a subtle movement. We're going to do our scapular movement, okay? So we're going to reach our hands up towards the ceiling and then back down. So I want you to feel your shoulder blades really coming around your rib cage and then lower them back down. So it's your shoulder blades that are moving and rolling around that rib cage and then lowering down. Good. And again, reaching those hands, rolling those rib cages around and then back down. Good. And again, reach those hands to the ceiling, rolling those rib cages around and down. So your shoulder blade around on those rib cages, I should say, and then back down. Good. And again, reaching and then lowering. And again, reaching those hands and then lowering. Good, so it's those shoulder blades that are moving and stretching around. Well done. And again, reaching and then lowering. Last couple here. Reaching and lowering. And one more. And lower back down. Now from here, we're going to work our arm scissors a little bit. So we're just going to take one hand behind your head, just as far as you feel you can keep that control and not let those ribs flare. So really watching to keep that distance between the ribs and those hip bones the same. So we're watching, making sure we're not flaring through those ribs. I'm not losing that neutral spine position. I'm keeping that control as I lengthen my arm above my head. So I'm not necessarily trying to touch the floor. You might find you can only go so far before you feel you're losing that control or those ribs are flaring, and that's your stop point, okay? So lengthen away and then back down. And again, lengthen the opposite arm, each side, reaching away from here. Good. And again, lengthening through that spine, lengthening that body, keeping that distance between the ribs and those hip bones the same, not letting them flare as you reach back and then forwards. Good. And again, reaching back and forwards. Lovely. Let's do one more each side. And then coming back to that centre. Very good. Now from here, we're going to add in what we've done before, our opposite arm, opposite leg movement. Good. So again, reaching that opposite arm, opposite leg. Keeping that control, making sure I'm still not losing that position, those ribs aren't flaring as I'm lengthening that opposite arm, opposite leg movement. So it can be quite subtle, the movement, but actually it's really hard to control and not let those ribs flare as I'm lengthening through that body. Well done. And back. And again, opposite arm, opposite leg, and then back. Well done. Lengthening away and back. Good. One more each side. And then coming back to that centre and then lower those arms back down. Very good. Well done. Okay, so from here, we're going to just come round onto our sides. So come round onto your sides and we're going to work into a little side plank movement here. So bring that elbow so it's underneath the shoulder. Okay, really kind of. Now, we're going to have our feet, our knees just in front of us, but actually we'll come up quite square from here. And we're going to work our obliques a little bit in our core into a side lift, okay? So take a breath in to prepare. Then as you breathe out, we're just going to lift up through that side. If you can, we're going to reach that hand up towards the ceiling. Just breathing in and out here. And again, breath in and out. And again, breath in. And on the out breath, we're just going to lower back down. Breath in and out, breath in and out, and one more breath in, and on the out breath, relaxing back down. Lifting up, breathing in and out, good, and again, and out, and then on the out breath, we'll slowly lower. And then I'm just going to get you to come around and then lifting back up. Good. And again, coming around and then back up and coming around and back up and again coming around and back up. One last time, reaching around and then lifting back up. And then just lowering that body down from there. Very good. Okay, so let's grab that thicker block and just come down onto our sides fully. So you can use that block just to support your head from here. So we're going to do a double leg lift. So we're going to just straighten both legs out. So just have the fronts of your feet just in front of you here. Those hips are really stacked on top of each other. That core is gently engaged. And we're going to lift up that top leg just to hip height and then lower back down. So you might want your hand there just to feel that top leg lifting and lowering. Keeping those hips stacked, that core's engaged as you're lifting and lowering through that top leg. Good. Lifting and lowering. Now, if that feels okay, just going to that hip height with that top leg, we can lift that top leg, bring the lower leg to join and then lower them down together. Now you may want your hand in front for a little bit of balance, but try to make sure you're not pushing through that hand too much. If your hand was on a little poppadom or meringue, it shouldn't break, okay? So just having that hand resting in front. So top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. Keeping that core engaged as you're lifting and lowering. So top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. Core's engaged, lifting and lowering. Good, well done. Keeping that control as you're lifting and lowering through that top leg. Well done. Good, so core's engaged. Lift that top leg, lower leg to join, lower down together. Well done. And down. And again, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. Last few here. Keeping that control. And let's do one last one. And then lower down. Well done. Bend those knees up from here. Good. Okay, so we're going to go into our side kick movement from here. So keeping those hips stacked, I'm going to lift this top leg just at that hip height. And imagine that leg's on a table. We're going to glide that leg forwards and then gliding that leg back. Keeping that control as you glide the leg forwards and gliding it back. Well done. And again, gliding forwards, gliding back. Making sure you're controlling that movement through that pelvis, gliding forwards and back. Now if that's feeling comfortable, we can straighten this leg. And again, still keeping that leg at that hip height as we glide forwards and glide back. If that leg's straight, then you can point the toes to glide that leg forwards and then flex the foot to glide it back. Point the toes to glide it forward, flex the foot to glide back. All the while keeping that leg in that hip height level, because that's really working those glutes hard to control that movement forwards and back from here. So gliding forwards, gliding back. Now if that's comfortable here, you can straighten that lower leg and then glide forwards and glide back. So just challenging that balance a little bit more and that control. You may want your hand in front for a little bit of support if those legs are both straight. But just again, try not to push through your hand too much, keep that upper body relaxed. So pointing the toes to glide forward, flexing the foot to glide back, keeping that leg at that hip height position as you glide forwards and glide back. Good. Controlling that movement, all the while keeping that leg at that hip height to really challenge those glutes and challenge that core while the leg's moving freely forwards and back. Good. A few more here, gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Keep going if you can. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Gliding forwards, gliding back. One more here. Glide forwards, glide back. Coming back to that centre and lower that leg down. Well done. Give that muscle a little rub here. Good. Okay, so keep those knees bent up, just resting here. And then just drop that block down onto the floor so your head's at the front of it. We have our arms out in front. And we're just going to stretch our upper body while we're here into our arm opening stretch. So we're going to lift up that top arm, opening out through that chest, coming round and back, and then slowly coming back to that start. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, lifting up that top arm, opening out through that chest, coming round and back, just as far as you feel comfortable, and then back to that start. And again, lifting up that top arm, opening out through that chest, and then coming round and back to that start. Good. So just lifting up, opening out through the chest, and then coming back to that start position. Good. Lifting up, opening out, coming back to that start. Lovely. So just really opening out through that chest. Remember, if you're feeling any pulling through your shoulder, just bend that a little bit. It doesn't need to be straight. We're just opening out through the chest, looking round and back, just as far as you feel comfortable. And then coming back to that start. Opening out that chest, coming round and back. That start. Lovely. Last few. Up and round onto our opposite side. Okay, so we're going to come round, bring that block with us for a minute. So we're going to work into that side planks, that side bend movement. So make sure that your elbow is underneath that shoulder. So that's kind of really in that line from here. Our knees, we're going to come up so we're quite straight. So they need to be a little bit further back, but they can be just in front of you because your body will come forwards as you lift up. So we're going to take a breath in to prepare. As we breathe out, we're going to lift up through that side. Breath in here and out. And again, breath in and out. And again, breath in. And as we breathe out, just dropping back down. Very good. Okay, so again, breath in to prepare. As we breathe out, reaching up. You can lift that opposite arm up to the ceiling. Take a breath in here. as you breathe out, and again, breath in, and gently out, and again, breath in, and as we breathe out, lowering down. Very good. Okay, and again, breath in to prepare. As we breathe out, we're lifting up, working through that side here, breathing in and out, and again, and then on that out breath, just coming back down. Lovely. Okay, and again here, make sure that elbow's still underneath that shoulder, and again, lifting up through, breath in and out, and again, breathing in and out, and then on that out breath, coming back down. Now, as we did before, on this next one, we're going to add, if you can, a little bit of arm rotation. So we're going to lift up, and then we're going to roll round, and then back up, and again, rolling round. Good. And again. And let's do one more. And coming back up. And then lowering down. Very good. Well done. Okay, so let's grab that thicker block, come completely down onto our sides. And just rest that head onto the block here. So if you haven't got a block at home, just use a little pillow or towel or something like that. Okay, so bend, we're going to start by straightening, those legs like we did before, and into our double leg lift. So those legs are straight. Have those feet just in front of you from here. And we're going to start by keeping those hips stacked and lifting up that top leg just to that hip height and then lower back down. So that top leg's lifted just to that hip height and then lower. And again, so top leg lifted just to hip height and then lower. Keeping that core engaged as you lift up and lower from here. Good. And again, lift up and lower. So lifting that top leg and lower back down. Keeping those hips stacked as we lift and lower. Now, if that's feeling comfortable, we can lift that top leg, bring the lower leg to join, and then lower them down together. So top leg lifted, lower leg joining, and lower down together. Breathe in to prepare. As you breathe out, raise those legs up and lowering on that exhale. Good. So keeping that control, core engaged, just lifting and lowering through those legs. If you need that hand in front for a little bit of balance, you can have it there, but just make sure you're not pushing through that upper body. Imagine you've got that little meringue there. You don't want to squash. So fingertip pressure there. Good. Lifting and lowering, keeping that core engaged as you're controlling that movement through those legs, lifting and lowering. Good. A few more here. Core engaged, hips staying stacked. Well done. Upper body nice and relaxed. Well done. Make sure that leg's only going to that hip height. Otherwise you're making it really hard for yourself and challenging that more than we need to. Okay? So lifting and lowering. Good. And again. Core engaged. And lower down. Well done. And again. And let's just do one last time. And lowering down. Well done. Bend those knees back up. Very good. Okay, so from here we're going to do our sidekick movement again, what we did before. So hips still staying stacked, that core still engaged. We're going to lift this top leg just to that hip height position. And we're going to glide this leg forwards and gliding it back. So just keeping that leg nice and controlled and maintaining that hip height position as you glide the leg forwards and back. Now if that's comfortable here, we can straighten this leg and glide it forwards and glide it back. Now if the leg's straight, we point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. So keeping that leg at that hip height position as you glide forwards and glide back. Well done. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Keeping that leg at that hip height. Well done as you glide forwards and glide back. Well done. Now if you want to challenge that a little bit more, then you can straighten that lower leg. But your leg might not move quite so far with that leg straight. But all the while we're keeping that leg in that hip height position. If your legs are both straight, you may want that hand in front for a little bit of balance. But just again, remember no pressure through, just fingertip pressure there. And keeping your upper body relaxed. All the while keeping that leg at that hip height position, really challenging those glutes to keep that leg there and challenging that core when our leg is moving forwards and back. Good. Keep that control, moving forwards and gliding back. Well done. A few more here. Really working through that leg. Well done. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Glide forwards, glide back. Let's do one more here. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Coming back to that centre. Relax that leg down. Well done. Bend those legs up. Give that muscle a rub. Okay, so we're going to drop this block down onto the floor. So your head's at the front of it. Arms are out in front. And we're going to lift up into our arm opening stretch. Okay, we'll lift up that top arm, opening up that chest, coming round and back, just as far as you feel comfortable. And then slowly coming back to that start. And again, lifting up that top arm, opening out through that chest, looking round and back. And then coming back to that start position. Good, so lifting out, opening around and back. And then back to that start. Good, so really opening out through that chest and then coming back to that centre. So just opening out through. Remember, don't pull through your shoulder too much. You can bend the elbow a little bit if you need to. And we're just opening up that chest, rotating through that upper spine and coming round and back from here. Good, and again, lift up that top arm, opening out through that chest, coming round and back, and then back to that start. And again, lifting up through that top arm, opening up that chest, coming round and back through that start again. Lovely, last few here. And then back to that start. Again, that head is just rolling on that block and stretching around with it. Good, let's just do one more here. Lift up that top arm, opening up that chest, looking round and back. And then back to that start. Very good. Okay, so let's drop that block to the side and we're going to come round onto our backs and stretch out our legs a little bit from here. So, start with our bottom muscles. So we're going to put one foot onto the opposite. Then just stay there. Or if you can, we're going to bring the leg, using our hands to support our leg, up in towards your chest. And again, breathing in and out, relaxing down to that stretch. No tension through that upper body. If you want to increase the stretch slightly, just drop to that side you're holding slightly. Feeling that stretch increase if you need to. Good. Breathing in and out. Relaxing down into the stretch. Well done. Breath in and out. Very good. And then we're just going to relax that leg. Good, and we'll do the same on the other side, so opposite foot onto the other knee. Allow that leg just to relax open there. If that's enough of a stretch, then just stay there, or if you can, the leg up and towards you just as far as you feel comfortable, holding this stretch here. Good, and again, we're going to breathe in and out. On that out breath, if you can, sink down into that stretch a little bit further. If you can, holding that stretch there. Good, breathing in and out, relaxing down a little bit further if you can. Good, breath in and out. Sinking down a little bit at a time if you can. If you need to increase that stretch further or want to, you can just drop to that side a little bit that you're holding and feel that stretch slightly. Good, breathing in and out. Well done. No tension through that upper body. Relaxing down into that stretch. Well done. Good, and then just relax that leg back down. Then we're going to stretch through our hamstrings now. So knee up to the ceiling. We're going to let the leg there. Holding that stretch. Good. Lengthen through the back of the leg. Just supporting that leg with your hand if you want to. While we're just stretching through the back here. Good. So we're going to add a little bit of an ankle movement in and just point and flex the foot here. Just changing that stretch slightly as we point and flex through that ankle. Good. And then just pointing those toes up to the ceiling again, lengthening through. And then bending at the knee, lower that leg back down. The ceiling, and lengthen through the back of the leg, holding that stretch here. And the toes up to the ceiling, lengthen through the back of the leg. Supporting that leg with those hands if you want to. And just breathing in and out as we're holding this stretch here. Good. And if you can, we're going to point and flex through that ankle. Good. So pointing and flexing, adding that ankle. As we point and flex from here. Very good. And then just pointing those toes up to the ceiling again, lengthen through the back of the leg, holding that stretch. Good. And then lower the legs back down. Good. Now we're going to stretch out our sides that we've with that we did. So arms down by your side or out to the side of you. We're going to drop the knees over to one side. Turn your head to the opposite side if you can. Then use those toe muscles to bring the knees back up to that centre. And then over to that opposite side. Again, using those toe muscles, bring the knees back up. And then over to that opposite side. So just dropping the knees over, using those toe muscles, bring back to that centre. And then over to that opposite side. We're just turning that head the opposite way, just to stretch through that neck as well. And dropping that knees. Use the out through that lower back and the spine. So just enjoy that stretch as you're dropping down, using the tummy, coming back to that centre. And then over to the opposite side. Good. And lifting those knees back up. And then over to the opposite side. Well done. Drop the knees over, turn that head to the opposite side. And coming back. And then over. Let's just do last few here. Dropping this over, turning that head, going back to that centre, and then over to the opposite side. Good, and then back to that centre again. Those arms relaxed down by your side. Okay, so we're going to come round now. We're going to slowly come round and back, roll up, back up into standing from here. Okay, so just tucking those toes under. And from here, we're just going to slowly roll back up into standing position. So we're rolling back up into standing from here. Relaxing those shoulders down. Fantastic. So come around in front so you can see me. Okay, so we're just going to do a little side stretch movement to finish off. So I want you to imagine you're unzipping your side, so dropping one hand down, but this arm you're unzipping through that side. Lift up towards the ceiling, look up if you can, breath in. As you breathe out, re-zipping down through that side, back to that centre. And again, opposite arm, reach up. So unzip through that side, look up to the ceiling, breath in. As you breathe out, re-zip down through that side. Good. And again, opposite arm, reaching up, unzip through that side, look up to the ceiling, head to follow, and then slowly re-zip down through that side. And again, unzipping through that side, look up to the ceiling, breath in. As you breathe out, re-zipping back down. One last time each side. So unzip through that side, reach up to the ceiling, breath in. As you breathe out, re-zip back down. Last time. So unzip through that side, reaching up, breath in. As you breathe out, re-zipping back down. Fantastic. We'll do a few roll downs here. So breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath at the end there. As you breathe out, slowly restacking back into standing. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath at the end there. And as you breathe out, gently peeling back up into standing. Lovely. One last time, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands down towards the floor. Breath at the end here. And as you breathe out, slowly restacking back into standing from here. Relax your shoulders down. Fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed the class today and hope to see you again.